People who work in human resources, what is the weirdest shit you have seen? The family of the guy who passed away came to speak to us. It was in a factory environment. To get pension docs etc. we sent them away with a to-do list. 1 hour later reception pinged us saying Mr. X's family was here. Strange. The documents take a few days to get. Nope. New family. Yup. The guy had 2 different families, who were about to have a fun surprise. Well, because both of them were nominated beneficiaries of his will, we had to call both of them in. Had to highlight the nominations. Then the main squeeze found out about side hustle and it was crazy. Wife took side hustle to court for fraud. She lost. shitu/meg_w1111 don't leave us hanging. One of the candidates I was interviewing via Skype answered the phone while in his boxers and a tank top, then stood up to grab his blazer that was probably about 3 feet away. I had to see him in his stretched out boxers, had a porn site up and open during a shared screen trial, to see how well he can use the digital classroom. I had to remind him I can see his screen. He goes, "Oh yeah, sorry," next. Instead of just closing it from the corner of his partially hidden window, he clicks open the window in full view then closes it. That was nice. Digital classroom. Don't tell me he was interviewing for a teaching position. I don't think he wanted to get hired. That all sounds very deliberate. I once had a temp job in HR. I was scanning lots of old personnel files, and the one perk of the job was reading old complaints against people. The best one I came across was a mediation caused by one member of staff accusing another of witchcraft. She turned me into a newt. I feel like you should pull a Michael and read them out loud to everyone so they can air out their grievances. My dad works in HR. He just told me about a day when they had to lay off about half of the company. It was crazy and there were a whole lot of moving parts that day. Unfortunately, in all the craziness, no one remembered to tell this one new hire that sadly the position he was hired for was no longer affordable. So he came into the office only to see everyone clearing out their desks and leaving. And then, he got laid off. An hour into his first day. He said the guy understood, but it was the most horrible he ever felt for someone in his life. My old company just went through a huge layoff, greater than 60%, and one of the people laid off had just started a week prior, relocated from multiple states over, and has a newborn. Frown. I used to work at a staffing agency that placed people at manufacturing positions. Everyone had to be drug tested at the office as part of the orientation. If the pickup came back as inconclusive, we'd send the potential hire to a medical lab. They would take another drug test and the lab could determine if the person was on a prescription or using illegal drugs, and therefore, not eligible for hire. So one guy failed his drug test at the lab. He came back to the office claiming that it wasn't his fault. He explained that he was riding in a car and he stuck his head over the window. Then, when the car passed under a bridge, someone threw a bunch of cocaine off the bridge, it hit him in the face, and he accidentally inhaled it. How did you know it was cocaine? I hate it when that happens. An IT guy who worked the overnight shift, because he was doing support for our Asia/Europe regions, got written up for improper use of company systems. He had dozens if not hundreds of Google image searches related to foot fetish stuff. Like insert celebrity here feet along with other random stuff like cute toes, etc. Like dude, you're in IT. You know this stuff is tracked and that your boss could easily monitor it. Did he get docked any wages for not working or did the company just foot the bill? Whenever I am looking up a celebrity the first suggestion is always the person's name and feet. How many people have foot fetishes that is the first suggestion? I don't like feet so it blows my mind. I was a recruiter, and you would be shocked to see what some people actually have as their personal email. Most people have come around to using just their name, but then every once in a while you'll have to verify that Brownletter69 is in fact how they would like to be contacted. I am a teacher. There are a lot of angry parents who are still using their Hotmail from high school like Studman 6969 and Super Sexy Kick 16, Bob Fake. Makes it hard to take them serious. I will never forget reading resumes and finding these email addresses, panda_ass and mudstug. Caught a site manager with like 50 plus pairs of panties hidden all over his office in Ziploc bags, a multitude of sex toys, and over 100k in cash stuffed in ceiling tiles. Took a while to unravel all of that. So you locked out his building access and told the VPs you found 60k in the ceiling, right? Call center employee calls HR to complain about their supervisor, he's abusive. He won't even let me leave my desk. Supervisor calls HR to complain about employee, can you please tell that she's allowed to leave her desk? Oh my god. She's shitting in her trash can. It may sound humorous, but there was significant mental issues at the heart of this. Imagine if it was a metal wire trash can. Two people had cut a hole in the wall between their offices. They pushed their filing cabinets to hide the hole on both sides. Cleaning staff was asked to deep clean the offices one day and they found the hole. Both parties involved were married, not to each other. They were having sex through the wall. Edit so I don't have to answer the same question a few times, the hole was cut so that just the body was visible. Heads were not. I didn't ask logistics but my imagination has led me to believe doggy style, she backed up as far as she could and they had sex in the wall for lack of better understanding. Edit 2, walls were terribly thin. Also came out after they were both fired they cut through asbestos in the wall. No WCB claim opened for them. Thanks for the award anonymous stranger. Kind of brilliant really. I think this one is my favorite. My wife works in HR. She had to question a high-ranking employee about an incident where a lower-ranking employee, who was being talked to about her inappropriate wardrobe choices which clearly violated company policy, decided in an act of protest to take out her, quite large, left breast and smack it down on the table and ask him in her thick New England accent, is this too much cleavage for you? I had to see a video of a guy who shit himself during work while running to the restroom because his manager wouldn't let him leave a meeting early. The guy had IBD and the manager knew this, so the video show him running down the hall and literally a few feet from the restrooms, he starts shitting himself and you see it coming down his leg pant. He looked to be in pain cause he kinda collapsed, and then got back up. People were baffled when they saw this live lol manager equals fired, so definitely the weirdest shit I've ever seen, literally. I learned from an early age not to listen when someone acts like you need their permission to go shit. Glad the manager got fired for that. I no longer work in HR or at this company, but it's my favorite story from my time there. Our benefits team made the decision to eliminate reserved parking as lots of employees were frustrated when they walked past dozens of empty spots in the reserved lots every day. This new policy applied to all of the company's locations. Of course, the benefits manager received hundreds of complaints in the first few days from people insisting they needed an exception for their own personal spot. The best reason by far was from one person who needed a spot close to the door because they were terrified of bobcats. No other context. We didn't have bobcats near the corporate office, so at first we thought they meant construction equipment. Turns out there actually were sightings of bobcats, like the animal, near this person's location. Last I heard they were told to arrive earlier to get a closer spot and didn't get an exception. This was in the early 2000s, when people still sent paper applications. I worked for a gaming company, so we got a fair amount of unsolicited applications, usually young people trying to break into the industry. But this application letter was extra special. It started with I am in the center of an international conspiracy. followed by 2 tightly printed A4 pages of the freakiest shit imaginable. Researcher, onto something, hunted by dark forces, agent of other unseen forces he fell out of favor with, and a few weird political tangents. Wanted a job with us because he needed to lay low for a while before he could get out of the country. We were suitably freaked out by the mere fact that he had our office address, chose not to reply and forwarded the whole thing to corporate HR. I'd play that game. The guy is trying to expose the cabal and you treat him like that? What kind of gaming company? Maybe he was pitching a plot for a new video game. Subscribe for more hot Reddit takes in your inbox, guaranteed.